All right, we are back with another great episode of Basscast Radio. I am your host, Brian. I got up here back with us after a few episodes. Hank, the Bass Geek. Welcome back, brother. Been under the weather a little bit, guys. It's December, and it's been cold as crap.
Yeah. Yeah, as you can still tell, the voice is not quite up to par. Like I said, I'm a fat man with little tiny lungs, so bad genetics. But yeah, man, I got the flu about 3 weeks back, and it took me about 2 weeks to literally get over that. And now I'm still just trying to get the lungs back up to par because the flu's going around. That's bad enough, but the COVID is kind of peaking up again. And if that hits me, it might be a bad day. So I'm trying to stay away from as much as I can.
There you go. Well, dude, man, we appreciate you being on tonight's show, the final show of the 2022 season.
Oh, yeah.
So really excited about that. Guys, really quick, we want to say thank you to everyone that's listened, all our new listeners as well. Before we get into it, can you right now go to wherever you listen to your podcast and leave us a rating, a comment, a feedback, whatever. It's real simple, easy to do. Just go to Apple or go to Google, type in Basscast Radio, scroll down, leave it a comment. That's all you got to do. And it helps us when people type in, get the hat a little bit tighter there. When people type in bass fishing, it helps us move up a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
So we appreciate you guys doing that. But yeah, it's our final show of the 2022 season. I'm glad to have Geek back on with us. So thank you,
Glad
Geek.
to have a voice to be able to be back on with you.
There you go.
About a week ago, I could say one sentence, and it sounded like I tried to run a mile. It's like, hey, guys, how's it going? It's just been a show of heavy breathing.
So, as always, guys, head on over, check out Geek's YouTube channel, please. What are we looking at right now, Geek?
Man, we
just a rough idea.
Luckily, I filmed some videos to backlog because I knew the holidays were coming up, which we've run out. But they were some really good winter fishing videos. We have had the best December in the 6 years that I've been doing YouTube now.
That's awesome.
By a ton. I think we grew. The best December we'd had up until this point was 477 subscribers. We have done over 2,000 subscribers this month. December has been great, which normally I can never say that because we're struggling just to get like 200 subscribers.
Right.
But we are up to 64,600. We literally just hit it right before I got on the air.
That's awesome, dude.
So 64,600. Man, I mean, I'm excited. I'm excited to death about next year. There's a lot of schedule openings, and we are going to pump out a ton of content. We're tweaking the content to make it better. I went down the rabbit hole of, doing some research today. And, man, I'm so jacked up about next year. We did almost 20,000 subscribers in 2022.
Wow.
And if we match just that next year, we'll be over 80,000 subscribers.
All right, here's a question. I know you're a little bit more into the YouTube side of this. How many subscribers do you have to get one of those little plaques? The silver, the bronze, the gold?
100,000. And that's what I was going to say. My goal for next year. And I wholeheartedly believe we can do it.
I think we can.
It is hit that 100,000 mark.
That would be so fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Hate to drop the F-bomb, but I think it's amazing to build a photo of Geek's hard work paying off, guys.
Yeah. And we've kind of figured out the formula. We proved it this year. The only bad thing is I don't have enough time right now. That is going to change next year, and that's why I'm so excited. And even if I don't walk away from my day job, there's been some people added, so I don't have to cover as much overtime now. So we've kind of figured the formula out. You know, we started working real hard. Me and a shout out to my buddy Jeremy in February, and by the time we got to June and July, we were gaining 33 and 3600 subscribers a month. We
Dude, that's
just
awesome.
Yeah, and then of course the truck hit the house.
Yeah, we all know that story.
And so we fell off the cliff, right? So we lost all of our momentum because in August we put out 2 videos. That's, because
Yeah.
I had to redirect. And that's kind of what's going to happen because I got sick, this month. We kind of got the ball rolling right around October, November, December, you start to see it pay off, and then I get sick and I haven't been out on the water or filming anything for half the month. So,
It's all good, man.
but that's good, man. Look, we know it works. If it'll work in December, it'll work by granny anytime. So
There's a lot of stuff changing to YouTube, guys. A lot of great things happening for creators.
yeah,
And for you guys who are not following Geek on all, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook a little bit, not much.
Yeah.
We'd say neither am I. Facebook, I hate you. But that's side point. So guys, make sure you follow them definitely on TikTok for the shorts, and you're gonna see a lot more. I know Geek and I have talked about a lot more shorts on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie, I ain't gonna sugarcoat it. YouTube in 2023 is gonna be paying for shorts. They're paying me for my shorts on Instagram. So I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
All that money I cashed out today. I got $93 coming. You know what? I'm blessed to have it. Thank you guys for watching the short videos. That money goes to pay for Bruce, to pay for Eric, to pay to, we got a tournament this weekend, guys. We are doing a January 1 New Year's Day event, something we never done here. Me and Danielle just decided to do it. We're old. We just go to bed at normal time. We die, go to heaven the next day. It's cool. But yeah, so we're going to host a New Year's Day tournament here. So it fills up gas and cars, and it does all the other crazy stuff that needs to be done. So in 2023, all those shorts is going to help Bass Geek be able to put gas in the boat, the brand new boat, and be able to record more great videos for you guys, tips, techniques, giveaways, the lives. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. A lot more than what we could talk. We could talk for hours about it. We have a guest we need to bring on. So.
We do. But, I want to interrupt real quick, though. And you're right. That is a huge deal that they're going to start putting ads on the shorts, because here's an example. So anybody that wants to know how much you make on YouTube, I'll at least tell you about the shorts. I had a short, and by the way, if you really want like blow your hair back, crazy amount of tips in 60 seconds, go watch my shorts. It's not fluff and goofy. It's literally, I take a 30-minute video and put all those tips in 60 seconds. But I had a short go viral, 444,000
holy
views.
Cow, dude.
In less than a month. This ain't the first one. I've got others that have done almost 1 million views. Guess how much I made on that?
$2.
$1.63. Wow. Because it's not advertisement dollars, it's YouTube shorts. Shorts fun. Now I'll give you another. I had a short go micro viral, did 44,000 views in a month. I made $600 on that video.
Holy cow, dude!
So imagine what I would have made if that video would have done. Or I'd made 5,000.
As you guys all know, the end of the year is coming. Me and Geek both want to be home. We want to do this full time. We harp on it a lot. We talk about it a lot. The only way you guys can help us is you guys go like, you guys can go share, hit the notification button, leave the feedback. Like I was saying, you're gonna see I've created a Patreon page for us to raise some money. I mean, it's $5 a month. We'll be talking about it more in 2023.
Yep.
But we're gonna be adding some stuff to that because I'll be honest, guys, I ain't got time to beat the bushes that I need to have because we do have a lot going on here, and life, family, kids, podcast, tournament
lot.
coverage. It's a whole lot. And, every $5, you say, okay, it's $60 a year. That ain't a whole lot of money. But if we get 20, 30, 40, 50 people, 100 people supporting that, guys, we can do a whole lot. So, I mean,
Yeah.
so you'll hear more about that soon. Let's talk about this really quick. And then we got to bring on our guest, which is NPFL president, Mr. Brad Fuller, by the way, guys. Coffee in a bag. Guys, what is it? Here you go. You guys want to hear about a story about, and it's cool to see this because if for any of you guys to know the story about the basscast.com, I started off the Basscast hitting every boat ramp that I knew or I'd seen or traveled past and putting flyers on every cars. This dude right here is busting down the walls and getting this coffee in literally everywhere. Wildland Coffee, guys. You ever wish your morning coffee on the lake or a river was easy and better tasting? How frustrating it is to use a French press and have to clean it all up, or God forbid you drink instant coffee. That's why Wildland Coffee exists to solve those problems, guys. Wildland Coffee is a proud supporter of the podcast, and I'm stoked to support them. Wildland Coffee puts delicious, freshly ground coffee in tea bags. That's right, in tea bags, guys. You might be thinking that can't be good. Hear me out, though, guys. I don't want to read this anymore because it's good. I want to change it, but it's good, guys. I'm not lying. I drink a cup. I'm a coffeeholic. My mom was a coffeeholic. I'll probably die of it, but it is legit. And the cool thing, and I already told you guys, there's my camping bags over here to the left because I got some camping stuff for Christmas. Because you guys know I'm sleeping out of the car in 2023 again. I can't wait, but hotels are too daggone expensive. This right here will be in my bag. I've got a jet boiler to boil 8 ounces of water. I don't need my French press anymore. So, and it's amazing. Basscast 10, guys, get you 10% off your first order at wildlandcoffee.co. I think he got it in a big hotel. He's got it in, crap, I can't remember where he got it from. The dude's freaking cool as crap because I was sitting there reading a story on LinkedIn earlier. Someone ordered a dozen to give away as a Christmas gift. He threw one more in there and said, you try it. And so, I mean, just doing stuff like that is pretty freaking awesome. So, guys, we appreciate them for being a part of us. And, like I said, we appreciate everything that they do at Wildland Coffee. Zach France is the gentleman's name who owns Wildland Coffee, guys. For you guys on LinkedIn, follow him. He's got 10,000 followers on LinkedIn. And the dude is hustling. I mean, he really is. So, and he's getting do you guys remember the what was that tool? There used to be a family, and I don't know why it's slipping my mind. We gotta get our guest on, but they traveled everywhere, hitting tackle stores and selling their product. He's doing the same freaking thing, guys.
Nice.
It's just coffee. So, all right, guys, we got Mr. Brad Fuller on with us tonight.
All good.
All right, guys, Mr. Brad Fuller, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for talking with us tonight. We've had a lot of NPFL anglers on the show with us, telling their story. We have, the new Omega tackle owner. We've had him on a couple different times. So, I mean, because he kind of wins tournaments.
He kind of cashes checks, man. Big ones.
Yeah.
Cashes big checks. So, so thank you for coming on. Thank you for taking a little bit of time out of your busy holiday schedule to talk to Basscast Radio. Let's hear your story, man. First of all, from going from a tackle owner to going into being a tournament series owner, what made you make that move? I mean, was it how long did you run Omega Tackle for?
We had 6 years.
Okay.
Yep. I would say stupidity maybe is one of the things that drove me to doing that. No, man. Man, it kind of starts before that, and not to go back,
Yeah, go for it.
When I was 3 or anything, but so I retired from the military in 2013. I went overseas doing some contract work, flying on some surveillance and reconnaissance aircraft overseas. Pay was awesome. I worked 60 days on, 60 days off. All the guys that were in that with me used that as a kind of launching pad to start something at home.
Mhm.
Because once you get in that, your only goal is to get out.
Right.
And come home with everything you took over there, right? So that's what we did. And I was actually a guy in St. Louis owned Omega Custom Tackle. I got introduced from a friend of a friend. He gave me an Alpha Shad buzz bait and said, "Hey man, I know the guy who makes these. Like, try it out." I threw it. I'm like, "Man, this thing's awesome." So I kind of hooked up with him, and I was fishing some coasts and stuff like that. He was a small sponsor of mine, and I went over there one day to pick up some stuff. He's like, "Hey man, we're going to sell the business." It's like, it's just not, I'm kind of over it. I went home and told my wife, I was like, "Hey, we're getting ready to buy a tackle company."
Uh-oh.
And it just kind of took off from there. And man, I'm a big firm believer in everything happens for a reason. Without that experience in the military, without going overseas, without owning Omega Custom Tackle, I wouldn't be where I am today without all those things leading up to this. So the way it all started was Big Al, who's our MC. He's the founder of the NPFL. We were at an Omega event, a big bass bash down on Lake of the Ozarks. And he pulled my wife and I aside and he goes, "Hey, I've got an idea." And I walked away from it going, "This dude's crazy." Like, man, in this environment, in this market, like,
Yeah.
But we finished the event, and on the drive home, my wife's like, "Look, why don't we look into this? Let's dig into it a little bit." So I did, and we started doing some business analysis, like, hey, can it work? Like a feasibility study. Like, is it feasible that you can get 125, 130 guys to pay these bigger entry fees? And we started looking at, hey, there's 310 professional spots. Well, with the advent of high school fishing and college fishing,
Right.
we just felt like there was a lot more guys. Then you start looking at, how can you separate yourself? How can you be different enough where you're not trying to replicate another business model that someone else has ran? We're never going to catch someone who's been in business for 50 years, right? So, and you can't compete with them. You got to compete with yourself in the market. So the schedule, that's why we do our schedule the way it does. We felt like there were more people out there who had the ability and the drive to fish. It just wasn't available to them. And when you start saying, okay, what makes it not available? When you can cross those off your list, go, well, we're going to spread our schedule out. We're going to start in early spring, February. We're going to run our schedule all the way through October, minimum of 3 to 4 weeks between events. A lot of our guys own their own businesses. They can't be gone from their own business for 2 to 3 weeks at a time, but they can be gone for a week, come home for 4 weeks, and then get back out on the road and go do it. And they're good anglers, man. I'm sure you guys know a ton of guys who you put them in the Walmart parking lot, they're going to catch 5-pounders out of the smallest mud hole in the parking lot.
Yeah.
They just catch them. And we felt like that was another thing. Like, can we build a platform that allows a regionally successful guy to brand himself and make him a national name? And we said, yes, we think we can. You got to have the media, you got to have the website, you got to have all the things that go along with that. And maybe we found a great partner in Fixed Productions. They were kind of cutting their teeth in it, and they had the same kind of mindsets we did. And man, it's been an awesome partnership. Without all that happening, we're not sitting here today. And it's kind of a abridged version of how did you get here? But that's kind of it.
What made you guys go to a 3-day series event where everyone fished all 3 days?
Well, look, it kind of went in a schedule a little bit, right? So if you say, hey, and this is where the business side kicks in, when you go to a venue to sell your event to that venue, they want you there as long as possible, right?
Yeah.
So doing 4 days for us, production wise, wasn't feasible. We couldn't kick that bill. Production is hands down the most expensive thing we do.
Oh,
the
yeah.
cameraman, like Eric Heeman's Wombat's his nickname. He was just over filming the World Cup. So we have the top guys in the industry filming for us, and guess what? They're not cheap. So that was one part of it. Then we felt like, hey man, if Angler X, who fishes or who works in his own business, builds his schedule around an event, he wants to go and he wants to be there for all 3 days. And we didn't want to try to solve a problem that we didn't know if it was a problem yet. And what I mean by that is, when we first announced that, like, oh man, the guy that's in 90th place is going to be hoarding in on the leader's water. Hasn't happened. right?
Right.
Have there been little, like when you get more towards the middle, the check line, like is there some friction there? Absolutely. But that happens on day one and day two anyway, right?
Yeah.
So we felt like storylines of leaders in the tournament and then guys that are in that middle of the pack. Look, we've had guys come from 60 places back to cash a check. You got to
Nice.
catch
True.
them for 3 days. Like if you slip up one of those 3 days, you're going to be in trouble. But if you slip up on day one, you got a chance to kind of claw your way back into it on day 2 and 3.
Yeah.
So we felt like those storylines were cool. We felt like the cream would rise to the top. You're going to get a true guy who really was there for all 3 days. And when you're chasing points, it makes a difference at the end of the year when you stay there and grind for that 3rd day.
Wow. Well, let's
absolutely.
let's turn back the clock a little bit. You know, we're getting ready to go into the 3rd year of the NPFL. The first year, you know, it was quite shaky at the end. We all know that. You know, me and Geek are big friends with John Sokup.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's kind of, you know, he was, you know, I don't want to say he was one that kind of helped hold the glue together sometimes from the presence that we get from him. But I mean, you know, year one was a learning curve. What was some of the biggest things? I guess, I mean, I know, you know, investor backed out from what we were told.
Yep.
And, you know, that kind of, I mean, money makes the world go round, everybody. And we're kind of seeing, we're seeing some of that issues in another league. I hate to say it, don't want to bring it up, but we're seeing it. And I actually knew it would happen, just waiting for when it would happen. So, you know, what do you think made you guys better for 2022 that you took away from the first inaugural season?
I think, man, that's a deep question, man, right off the get. So here's the thing, man, is I've never failed at anything, right? Because and we're not the kind of people who run into a roadblock and lay down and quit.
Right.
We had some very unfortunate circumstances that led us to what happened in 2021. Mm-hmm. And man, I've had the great privilege of doing some very difficult things in my life. That was the hardest thing I've ever went through. I'm in the most sincere way. Knowing that there were guys out there that we had made, that we had bona fide obligations to.
Yeah.
When I put the staff together, when we realized what was happening, and it all happened very, very fast. Like we had already went to Nickajack and did the site survey. Like we had been there, we had it all laid out, and the rug got pulled out from underneath us. Dude, the only thing I cared about was making it right with the anglers. Right. I didn't care what happened at that point. I'm like, look, man, these guys invested in us. They trusted us. And my only goal was to make sure that every single one of those guys gets everything they deserve. If I have to shut the NPFL down and work the next 10 years to make sure every guy gets every red cent he was owed, I was going to do that. And I would have done that. So the second part of your question is the one I think this is the most important that I focus on. What we learned is you have to surround yourself with people who are equally emotionally invested in your company as you are, right? Because and how things happen, like everything happened in a way that made us a better company, right? We're very fortunate that happened in year one.
Yes.
So when you say, hey, what am I thankful for? I'm thankful that we were owner operators, right? If you ever come to an NPFL event, I don't know if you guys have had a chance to be there.
No,
we're
gonna talk about that later.
Yeah, Al's on the stage, right?
Yep.
Paul, myself, Michelle is in the trailer, who's my wife. She takes care of all the tournament software running, keeping the website updated. She does all that stuff. We are present. I'm at the launch every morning for practice. Paul, myself, Al, and we're hands-on. We're there with the guys. Like we're all in this together, and we don't do that for any other reason than that's the way we think it should be done. If you've got a problem at the ramp, we're there to help you. We're changing trolling motors and look, without that presence, without us being involved heavily in the day-to-day operations at the venues, we don't have a year two.
Right.
Only reason 80 anglers came back from that year is because they trusted that we were in it for the right reasons, and they were willing to give us a second shot. Without that, we don't have a year two. Right. And I feel very fortunate that we approached the business that way, and that we were able to carry on into 2022. The other thing it did was brought Mike and Kathy Como to us. So Mike's a very savvy business guy. He's done very well in his life. He owned the chain of grocery stores up in Vermont and got bought out
wow.
a couple years ago. And he came to us and said, "Hey, man, I want to help." And of course, that comes with. So we sold 50% of the company to Mike and Kathy, 51%. They're owners with us. Mike is also an angler in the NPFL. But Mike's thing was, for me being the president, him being the chairman, when we restructured the business, I've learned more from him in the last year about business and how to operate, function, and do things that it's been invaluable. Like if we shut this down tomorrow, I'm a better businessman because I got to spend time with Mike and have his guidance and how
cool.
we go about things.
That is awesome.
And man, he is passionate about fishing. He is passionate about people. He's passionate about doing things the right way. And man, for that purpose and that reason, I just feel like all the things we've had to endure, we launched in a COVID year, right? Like
True.
Yeah.
True. That's very true.
And I would argue in some ways that helped us. I mean, that it was a hard deal. And then we come out this year, we executed, a great season this year. Everything went very, very well. Production was great. I thought Luke and Fat Cat crushed it in studio. You can see our production evolving with some of the little, when you watch something, you're like, oh, that was cool. You can't tell me why. You're just like, oh man, that looked good. If you watch us from, day one to our last event this year, it was phenomenal, man. That the event down there in Kissimmee was a phenomenal event. And it went really well. And Fat Cat and Luke crushed it on the live stream. I thought that was their best show of the year. One of, if not the best shows they've done.
Yeah.
And when you evolve like that and you learn and grow, and then you have this spirit of the underdog, right? Like, hey man, no one gave us a chance.
True.
And then we come out with this economy in 23. We've got a lot of challenges in front of us. But man, when you're a scrapper, right? You're not afraid to scrap. You're like, hey man, I know we can do this. I know we can work through it. I know that we're capable and able to overcome obstacles. It just doesn't seem like that big of a deal to have these obstacles. I told Mike today, we talked multiple times a day. I said, man, I don't know what it's going to feel like in 24 when we kick this thing off and we just kind of go. We're not in survival mode. We're just operating a business that we've foundationally shored up. And man, we've had a great response from sponsors this year. There's so many little highlights as we walk through the year that we just feel like if our goal is to get to 24, right? Get to 24 because we feel like that is a kind of a domino effect year for us. And we'll talk a little bit about why I think that is later in the show if you want, but there's some things we've been missing and we know that, and we're going to fix it. And
yeah, that was what I was going to actually dive into next, honestly, was, taking away what you did learn, taking away what you did. And, 2022, we eliminated the championship. We went to just straight events. How was that foreseen by some of the anglers? Because the championship, a lot of people live for that thing. I mean, it's, you talk about a lot of guys coming back from bass, from major league fishing back to bass because they missed the championship. They missed that TV presence. They missed that being up on the big stage in front of hundreds of thousands of people in an arena. How did, looking at that, I know 2023, you're looking at bringing that back.
Yep. Yeah, it felt, so I'll approach this from two perspectives. Okay. One as a fan and one as a businessman. So it wasn't that we didn't want it. I desperately wanted a championship. We can afford it. Like when you run the numbers and sit down and look at the pro forma and you look at your budget and you start forecasting, you're like, man, so it's either cancel the season because you can't have a championship and dump everything we've invested away, like just throw it away because I can't have a championship. So we go, hey, can we have a season without a championship? I will tell you, the very first time Mike brought it up to me, I said, no, there's no way we can execute a season and not have some sort of championship.
Right.
So that was the passionate fan in me going, we got to have a championship, right? I want to eat the 10 pounds prime rib steak that looks real juicy, but it's probably not going to work out. You know what I mean? So we said, hey man, let's talk to the anglers. Let's see what they think. And when you put it goes, hey guys, either we run a 6-event schedule with no championship or there is no NPFL. When you put it like that, you're like, all right, man, well, we'll try it. And look, we did the best we could with what we had, right? Like, but I will tell you, it felt it was a little weird. Like it was definitely, it bothered me every single tournament. I know it affected some of the way that some of the anglers fish, and that's why we were kind of desperate to get something going for 23 to make sure we had a championship.
That's awesome.
But I'll have to say, I mean, for me as a fan, you love the immediate satisfaction of a championship, right? It's like a tweet, 140 characters. It's great.
Right.
But as an angler, I also understand that the best championship of the season, the championship that really counts, is that Angler of the Year title. That's the best angler. I don't think anybody would argue that. Anglers. So and you guys do put on a good production. I think the one thing that made me, I missed the Kissimmee. It was the only tournament of the year that I didn't get to watch. And when you were on Watch Bar, which is one of my backyard lakes, of course, I had to work, so I didn't get to go down. I was actually going to get to go down and fish with John, and just kind of hang out with him, but I didn't get to go. But you're right, man, and I know Fat Cat.
Yeah, we all do.
They put on a great show. I think this season, even without a championship, man, it was good to see you guys make the adjustments. And I think the other thing is that how open you were with your anglers and the public of like, look, we want to be here long term, so we're going to do this now so that we can be here the next 10 years. So, I think you guys really did do it right. And the one thing that made me sad, though, the most was, when you had to cut all 3 days of one live cast.
Yeah, like I said, man,
but I understand that.
I did one of these deals last week, and the guy's like, well, I was like, hey man, I've got 20, I had 26 or 27 spreadsheets open on my Mac, right? Yeah. And I said, that's my world and where I live, right? Like I get to get, I enjoy doing these, but where I make my money and where I make the bones in the NPFL is I'm the guy behind the spreadsheets. Yeah. And every coming and going, I could quote numbers now. I don't have to look at a spreadsheet. I know intimate details about our financials, and because I live it and breathe it. I wake up at 2 a.m. in the morning with those numbers and stuff in my head. And as it relates to production, dude, it's not cheap. Like anyone in this industry knows how expensive live streaming and the way we do it, pushing the feed to Appleton in the studio and bouncing it out from there. Like it's expensive, but we feel like it's a pillar of the business. Like you cannot nationally brand an angler without that production. And if you can't do that, you're not going to get this cadre of anglers, right? Some anglers don't care about it. I mean, honestly, hey man, I don't care if we have a camera or not. Well, guess what? Sponsors care.
Yeah, I fight that. I'll be honest with you, Brad. I fight that all the time. People don't understand that part of it. Like, because I was new. I mean, my whole entire gist was to help, like you're doing right there, on a different level. I was to bring and highlight. I'm not a best fisherman. I just like going to fish. I grew up deep sea fishing, but I created a platform for them to share their talents. And that's what I did. And for you to share your talents, I got to be in your face. You got to be in my face. So, it was a big deal for that, where people getting used to, like, well, I know you got to take some photos because your sponsors like it. Yes. The sponsors pay the bills. The sponsors keep the website going. And I did my spreadsheet the other day. So, I mean, we have to do it. As we're talking about that, and, you guys do a podcast show. You have a lot of the anglers on your podcast show and random anglers. What is the plans for highlighting more anglers, or boosting more, bringing more awareness to the anglers themselves and the NPFL in 2023?
Yeah, so that's an interesting deal, man. So we've actually been bouncing around a lot. So I don't know if you guys got to see it yet or not. We did a little pilot with a deal called the NPFL My Story. Okay. The first one we cut was on Travis Jewell. It's a 14-minute short film, and it stretches beyond fishing. I'm pretty biased, but dude, it's if Travis, Travis and Tanner from Twin Visuals. Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude, they're phenomenal, like videographers and editors. Like they filmed John Hunter show
Oh, cool.
for years. Yeah, so it's got that real cinematic kind of theatrical feel to it. And that's something we want to do more of. Like we had a great response. Matter of fact, we had a sponsor call up and go, "Hey, how do I get my brand associated with that kind of content?" Like
Yeah.
that's what we want. And we didn't do it for that reason. I never expected that, but that's a big deal, man. When you can produce that quality of content that people want to see, that's a big deal. So that's one through the My Story. We've got
Okay.
another one in the can. We actually shot on Mike and Kathy. They're like, who are these people that, you know, the chairman of the NPFL, he's an angler, you know, and so we just kind of, hey, we're going to tell you who he is. We're going to show you through one of our My Stories. So you'll hear the guys go, hey, I'm Brad Fuller, NPFL president, and this is my story. And it goes into the whole deal.
That's pretty cool.
then,
My church used to do that.
Very.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and man, I think so. You're speaking about the roundtables we do during practice days. We bring an angler in and just kind of dive into. It's kind of changed and morphed a little bit. We're looking at doing something a little different for 23, changing up the format just a little bit.
Okay.
It's cool because we get to go out into a local establishment. The CVBs and the cities love it because we're not just highlighting the angler. We're highlighting, hey, the place that we're at, the restaurant or bar or pub. And so that's another selling point on the business side when you take it to a chain. They're like, man, we have more events on our schedule this year that have us there because of our community involvement. We don't just go to a city and hold a tournament. We go to a city and we dig in. We go to food pantries and dog shelters and children's homes. We want to immerse our anglers in that community. And for when we leave, we want people to feel like an impact on the community. So it's more than just a fishing tournament. And here's a secret, guys. Like that's how you get fans of your company. That's how you get fans of your league, right? And listen, we feel like we have very caring anglers who would do it if we never had a camera there. And there's a lot of stuff we don't film. Battered women's shelters, battered children's home. There's things that we do that we'll never send a camera to, but we still go do them. And because that's what you should be doing. You should be trying to make and I don't want to sound like you should be trying to make that a better place. And if we make one angler in Chard or one angler in somebody connection, like bro, you can have a pretty drastic impact on someone's life and never know it.
Yeah.
Right. And we feel like that's what we're trying to do. So we're going to do something a little different. You know, I'm the guy you're going to get on the podcast and I'm going to talk about the NPFL. And they're like, oh, you're so passionate. And so I think we're going to do a little video series this year where two things. One, I'm just going to pull an angler into a Zoom meeting just like this, and we're just going to talk for like 30 minutes, and we're going to throw it up on social. We got guys. We got legends. Lindell Martin, Charlie. Daryl Robertson. We got some guys that I'm just interested to have conversations like this with and hear their perspective. The other thing, Regan Nelson, right? Qualified for the Bassmaster Classic through the championship on the college series. Like we got so many cool stories, man, and so many guys that do some very interesting stuff for a living that I feel like a one-on-one kind of conversation like this would be better than when you're in tournament mode, like, hey, what's going to be the check weight? What's going to be big?
Yeah.
Like it's hard to get into this kind of conversation. So we're going to keep doing the roundtables, but we're going to pull that kind of one-on-one interview stuff out and try to do a couple of those. One a week is what we're going to go. We're going to can a bunch of them, but that's another way we're going to try to get more of our anglers out there for the public to see.
All right, where can those shows be found?
They'll be on all of our social media. So tmpfl.com, you can get there on us on Facebook at the National Professional Fishing League, and then our Instagram. All that stuff is posted on all of our social.
All right. As you were talking about anglers a little while ago, you know, in 2021, you had a lot of anglers that committed from, you know, that we're all knowledgeable of. And like I said, I don't want to bring up all of them. And, you know, a few after the season kind of went south at the end, I decided not to make the move. You know, they really wanted to see what was happening. Our friend, Mr. Patrick Walters, cashed, you know, quite a few checks.
95 G's, bro.
Yes. And he is an excellent angler and one of our best friends. So, I mean, you know, a few did decide to, say, okay, we're gonna stick with them. We're gonna see what happens. We're gonna be committed, like you were saying earlier. What's that future looking like? Is there anything that you can release for 2023? Is anybody kind of said, I want to try this a little bit, because if you're not fishing, you're not making money.
Well, that's I can tell you're buddies with Patrick, because that's his gig, right? And
Yep.
Listen, man, take his angler stuff away for a second. Like, he's just a good human being. His dad is phenomenal. He's got a great family. Like, he's just fun to be around, right? Like,
yes.
And it just so happens that he catches a snot out of him.
Yeah.
And dude, we've got a ton of those guys on the NPFL. That I'll just say it, they've underachieved. Not like, obviously Patrick didn't, but there's guys who can do much better performance-wise than what they did. I think some of them let the moments get too big for them. You know what I mean? And they get all wrapped up in here.
Well, there's such a huge difference between your regional tournaments, your one dayers, versus your nationals and your 3 dayers, your 2-3 dayers, tournaments. So a lot of those guys that are good in the region, it's a whole different style of fishing. You got to save fish. That's
I've had a lot of guys tell me, like, hey man, fishing all 3 days, like fishing a 3-day event, if you've never had to catch fish over a 3-day period consistently, there's a lot to learning just to do that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, I heard more guys say, I should have saved more fish, or I should have saved this.
Right.
You know what I mean?
We bring that up a lot, Brad, because we really I do, coming from the business side, I like talking about that positive mental attitude.
Yeah.
And being able to, make it through 3 days of fishing, the competition level that you guys are fishing against and the caliber of anglers that you guys have there. And like you said, being able to save fish, or, just say, heck, I'm going all in. But, with your league, you get to fish all 3 days. It's different going from, major Bassmaster, where you get 1 or 2 days. And then if you don't catch them, you go home.
Yeah.
So, it's all or nothing.
And like, for us, like, our big fish prize this year was $6,700.
Wow.
Like, hey man, you're here, your boat's already wet. Like, you've got everything rigged up. Like, go out and sling it around and make $6,700.
No doubt.
Right? Like, I kind of got in some guys a little bit this year. I'm like, hey man, you quit. Like, you lay down, right? Like, you owe your sponsors, your family, and yourself more than that. And awesome. Some guys checked out and went home early. And dude, we're not the kind of guys who just think that's okay. And look, man, I get it. I've been there. Right? Like, I've been in that moment when all you want to do is just get home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you got $6,700 out there swimming around, you better go try to catch it, because that's an entry fee. You know what I mean? That's your travel for the next 2 events.
Yeah.
The business side of you should not let you do that. And it's a mentally draining, mentally fatiguing sport. And I don't think people really understand until you go out there, you travel, you practice 3 solid days, you get a day off where you're rigging and you got media obligations. Mm-hmm. And then, you know what your reward for that is? A 4 a.m. wake up and all day on the water, fish, weigh in, go home, rig, sleep, and do it again. And listen, no one's going to be throwing any pity parties for these guys. I get it. But it is, you do see
it's work.
Your season, you see it mentally fatigue guys.
Yeah.
When you start to go down the road of, man, I just haven't caught them. You know what I mean? Or my favorite is, and listen, I love anglers, right? So please don't take that any other way.
Oh no.
They are soft. Like, man, when you spend the first 5 minutes of our conversation giving me every excuse why you didn't catch them, it's the guy who walks up and goes, look, dude, I didn't catch them. Right? No excuses. Like I got to be better. And we had a lot of guys, man, this year miss a check, like, at all the events by like a combined like pound and 3 ounces, like for the whole year.
Wow.
So, man, but I said, hey man, look at it this way. You're that close, right? Yeah. Like you go a pound and 3 the other way and you made 20 grand this year. You know what I mean? Yep. So, dude, it's tough, man. And it's a very, it's a mental sport. Like the I tell guys, like, everybody wants to be a pro until we stick that camera guy with an $80,000 camera and a microphone on you, and the world is watching every single move you make.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's a different ball game, and it's you find out what guys are made of, man. I've been surprised by guys who did really, really well. I'll be honest, Matt Massey. Matt's kind of a quieter guy. He's been working on a social. He had a camera, with him and Michael Catt down there at the Kissimmee chain. And dude, he was phenomenal. I went up, I was like, bro, like, it was a pleasant deal to see him kind of flourish in that moment.
And that is going to be the difference between, the 9-to-5ers and, the guys who, are, have been doing it for quite a long time, been doing bass for quite a long time, and, the other leagues, and, are used to having that camera in their face and, having to talk about the event. We just had Matty Wong on a week ago.
Yep.
And Matty is amazing. And, he can talk because he's from Hollywood. He already had the he's from Hollywood. He does a photographer and he worked with people and he already had that charisma. And we're taking a guy who just wants to fish and has been given the opportunity to fish on this platform and on this stage at this level, and now taking home 100K in 2023.
Yeah, man. I tell guys, there's never been a problem a professional anglers have that catching more fish don't fix. Period.
Amen.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna get it on a T-shirt, bro. Like, that's every angler. That's just a fact. Like, if you really, and I tell guys, here's we do like a little deal with when we get the field set, like we do like a little seminar, if you will. And I'm like, hey man, don't let the first time we shove a camera and a microphone in your face, because it can happen anywhere. Like our Travis and Tanner will grab you and go, hey, come here, I want to do an interview with you. Like, if you haven't mentally walked through that process, like, it's not about palmer knots and sharpening your hooks and making sure your lines are all properly marked and with the right fluorocarbon sizes and all that stuff. That's all very important. But for this level of game, you need to mentally walk through how you're going to approach your interviews, right?
Yeah.
Like where you want to emphasize, what portions of your life and your career. And like, if you watch Travis is very open with his life. Some guys just are all about sponsor, boat, plugs, jigs, you know what I mean? And that's great, but you've got to be able to walk through that because it's so transparent when it's just not.
Yeah, Bass Fish is different, man. We're putting sponsored dollars behind a person.
Yep.
And even some of the best anglers in the world have been some of the biggest assholes in the world. And I hate to say that. I mean, some. I'm not saying all, but I mean, you're promoting a person that you said, this guy can talk, this guy can handle himself professionally, and this guy can sell my product. And I'm willing to take a chance with this guy right here. I mean, Gerald Swindle's the coolest guy in the freaking world, and he hasn't won any like huge freaking events ever.
Hasn't won an elite event yet.
Yeah, hadn't won an elite event yet, but he knows how to sell. He knows how to handle himself. He knows how to talk, and he likes to have fun. And people like to have fun too.
Is brand association, right?
Yes.
Like, can I further and progress my brand because it's associated with your name?
Yep.
And I'll say this, man, being in the industry and seeing and listen, this is easy for me to sit back here and say now. And this is something, we had Zach Burge was our biggest name angler, and we're just cut from the same cloth, man. Like, it was a very easy marriage for us to do business with Zach because the way we communicate and you set out expectations, you hold people accountable, and you move on, right?
There you go.
But I told Zach, I'm like, hey man, like, we have an obligation as a company to you as well to promote you. Your growth equals more growth for us.
Yes.
And I just don't think a lot of companies see it that way, right? They give an angler X package and they go, sell my product or do this. Well, what are you doing to help grow that angler so he can?
Yes.
And I just think that's something that I've seen companies and I talk to anglers about them. Like, look, man, that's a conversation you need to have with these companies, whether you're getting a pack of worms or whether you're getting 20 grand, like that's a conversation that needs to happen. And we're going to talk, I've got a sponsor announcement that we're going to cut loose here, guys, whenever it comes up, but that was a conversation we had with them. And I'm super excited about it because they're all in, man. They were when we announced the $100,000 deal, the first phone call I got was from these guys going, hey man, hell yeah, like we're ready to roll. Let's
That's
do
awesome.
this. Like, so you need people like that around you, and you need people that push you, right? You need people that don't just settle for, good enough.
Yeah.
That should not exist anywhere, right? In this industry, it's too competitive.
Let's talk about let's dive into the schedule for 2023 real quick.
Sure.
Geek's got it up on his computer. I usually have my tablet down here. For some reason, I don't tonight. So you're kind of all over the water a little bit. Little Texas,
Yeah.
a little, going out west a little bit, coming back up through, I guess, kind of my neighborhood. I'm a few hours away from North Carolina, but it is an angler-driven series. You highlighted on something, a change already for 2023, but what kind of says at the beginning of the year, is there a group that says this is where we're going, or are you guys doing like bass, whoever puts up most money wins? Because we got to pay the bills where we're going, people.
Venue revenue is a line on the pro forma. But it's man, we try to every year. Saginaw Bay this year, right? It was Wright Patman in year one. No one had even heard. I hadn't heard of Wright Patman. When it came on my radar, I'm like, bro, I've been through there a bunch. Like, and I don't even. And it turned out it was a crazy good event. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we're always looking for those Wright Patmans. Saginaw Bay, I had a little juice on Saginaw. I knew how good it was. We missed it by just a little bit up there. The smallmouth were pretty still post-spawn, hadn't quite gotten out to where they needed to be for us to really catch them good. But then you turn around and guys are catching 100 fish a day in the reeds, 5 feet over their head. So that was a phenomenal event. And then we're going. We got a cool deal up there next year. We're weighing in downtown next year at their Friendship Park.
That's awesome.
So going away from the trailer to weigh in there. But it's going to be super. They're going to pull their boats up to the Friendship Park that's on the water, tie up, bring their fish up, walk up to a huge pavilion, weigh in, and then there's a big concert going on from a big headliner that evening, and it's going to be. We're very excited about that event. They're very excited.
Dude, that's awesome.
And I'll be honest, man. Amistad was kind of that. I remember Amistad in the 100, the Century Park deal when it was a new thing. And
it's tougher right now, but there's still big fish in that.
Well, dude, it's obviously water level is a big deal down there, right? And man, it worked out where we looked at Amistad, and they're like, it's risky, right? Like even with the lake 70-foot low, you can still have a tournament there. You got logistical things to worry about, but the water was up like 46 feet or whatever it was. You know what I mean? It's like finally something with the weather was going our way. We pulled that event from event one. We're making that our championship venue now for 2023.
Okay.
And we're going to announce a new event one here as soon as we can get. It's going to be. I'll tell you guys this. It's going to be in Georgia, or it's going to be in Alabama or Tennessee. So we've got 3 venues that are vying for that event one, stop one, second week in March, deconflicted from the Classic, obviously, somewhere in there, and. Any one of those 3 venues is going to be fire. Anywhere in that area in March has potential to be killer. There is a leader of that pack, but I really feel like any one of those 3 venues and we've told them all, like, hey, you're all in competition with each other, and whichever one brings the contract back first, that's where we're going. And
boom.
Yeah, January 10th is kind of about when we feel like the earliest we could get something back with the holidays and the chamber boards and special event committees and city managers and all the wicked.
I understand that.
But we're excited to get that event one announced.
What made you decide to go to Texas, man?
Dude, Texas is just a fish factory.
It is a fish factory.
Like it's I spent a lot of time in Florida, and there's so many little hidden ponds that no one knows about that has legit double fish in them. Texas is the same way.
Yeah.
Dude, there's a lot of crazy places I'd love to go. But logistically, it just like OHIV. What's the one there north of Wright Patman? Moultrie?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, there's some really cool places. You got to have a city that can support us. You got to have someone for the English to stay. There's a ton of them out there, and we just try to find those not so off the beaten path that we can't live there.
The NPFL was a year of hidden gems of lakes. I'm like, where in the hell did they find half of these damn lakes? I mean, I've been doing this for years now, and I've heard about every lake up and down the East Coast.
I'm gonna give you one when we get off the air too. You can look at for the future.
No, listen, man. And here's the crazy thing, Dick. Like when we start to make that one of our things, we get a lot of that. Hey, man, if you look here, well, hey, bro, like there hasn't been a phone call made there yet. Like we kind of need cell coverage to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah. Sweet. I'm ready. But yeah, man, the schedule is so how do we choose where we go? We kind of throw it out on a map and go, okay, this is where we were last year. Like, where do we not go? Where do we need to cover? Because we want to spread it around for the anglers too. You don't want the guy always traveling, unless Jake Boomer and you live in Washington State. Right. Sorry, Jake, you're going to travel, bro. You want to kind of move it around, and that way. But here's something we learned this year, man. In the NPFL right now, sponsors are our number one source of revenue. And I don't know any like that's just that's fact. Yep. Right? Like anchor revenue is the number one thing that brings it our way. So with that being said, we have to build a central schedule that appeals to as many anglers as possible, right? Amistad kind of threw a wrench in that for us this year. That's why we moved it to the championship. So that's why we're bringing it back to the Central. I need more anchors in the NPFL. Like right now, we're sitting at 60 signed contracts. I've got about 2 more months here to get everything shaken out. We've got a big Zoom call. We've got 188 contracts out right now to guys. We don't have an event one named. And a lot of guys are just kind of going, hey, man, I want to make sure this thing's going to go. And I'm like, well, man, if there's 40 guys sitting there waiting on us to say we're executable, we're never going to get there if you don't sign up and fishing. So listen, I feel we're not slowing down a bit. Every sponsors, us, we're moving forward. We're going to execute something in 23. The anglers will dictate what that is, whether they come fish with us or not. That's just the bottom line. And here's the thing, man. Like we're always we as a league. Look, we wanted a championship so bad that's why we went the $6,000 route in the beginning of the season, saying, hey, man, this gets us the championship. Blah blah blah, all this stuff. Well, in this economy, at $6 a gallon diesel and what it costs to operate, and then when you put a strain on the economy, your sponsors draw back. So a lot of guys, especially at our level, had a lot of monies pulled back, and it made it fiscally challenging. So we went back to the drawing board. Mike said, "Look, man, I think we need to go out and come out with the very best we can do in 23. $5,200 entry fees, $100,000 to win." A $250,000 person a championship with $100,000 to win a championship. Let's throw it on the table and let's go.
That's awesome.
Here's what the NPFL hasn't had so far, right? Here's what we've been missing: predictability via consistency, right? Mm-hmm. Every year we are trying to figure it out. Well, we're done figuring it out to some degree. Yeah. We need to be more predictable or more consistent so anglers can predict where they're going to be and what they're going to do. We need more anglers coming from 23 to 24, from 24 to 25. Yeah. We got to build a stable of guys who are going to be here. That's going to be challenging for us because of who fishes our league for the most part. But the more consistent we are, the more predictable, the easier it is to build off that business from year to year. We've never made that. I kind of been the opposite. I'm like, man, if you're not changing, you're dying. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
I'm not gonna run into a brick wall, then turn around and go, well, I'm not gonna change my path. I'm gonna run right back into it again. I'm always willing to change. I'm not afraid of it. But I think we need to get a little more consistent so we're predictable and guys know what's in front of them for 24.
What they can expect.
We told every angler that signs up in 23, you're an auto renew for 24. You want to fish with us in 23, you're automatically accepted back in 24.
Nice.
And dude, I was surprised how many guys are like, dude, that's a big deal. You know what I mean? Like, it just takes that off their plate. Here's the other thing is, I don't know how you guys feel about it. I was never a big top end purse guy, right? I wanted that 50, 65, 70. Yeah. I didn't want to pay 25% of my purse to first place. And here's my rationale there is if I pay $100,000 to win, which we are, we're going to drastically affect 6 people's lives, right? Mm-hmm. If I take 25, 30, 40,000 off of that and I put that in the bottom of the field and pay out an additional 6 or 7 guys, let's say 6. Yeah. Well, I just affected 36 anglers' lives.
It's true. Yeah.
The proof is in the pudding. When we made that media blast and we bombarded social media, and our team did a phenomenal job, man, with getting that out there and how that's when you see a little glimmer of what's possible, right? Like the team came together. I gave the marching orders. Mike said, this is what we're going to do. This is the money we're going to spend. Make sure every angler in America knows that the NPFL is paying $100,000 to win.
Oh,
Guys,
yeah.
I think we had 160 some applications in the first 72 hours.
Wow.
That's
So-
awesome, dude.
That means I'm an idiot, and everybody wants a big giant purse. I'm like, man, let's do something crazy. $478,000 purse. I said, let's just do a winner take all. Like, hey, you're going to win almost $500,000, or you're going to go home. And I'd be afraid to say how many guys would actually do that. Like,
yeah.
Dude, that's definitely we did a tournament here, it was all or nothing, and it was pretty crazy. I mean, you never think that people actually it's just like scratching a lottery ticket. I mean, it's all or nothing. I mean, it really is. You are scratching, putting a number, buying a number. I don't play the lottery, but whatever. As you were speaking earlier of sponsors and sponsor deals for the 2023 season, you highlighted on, something pretty awesome you got going on, and what can we hear?
Yeah, man. So obviously, listen, for a company like us in its infancy, right? We're going into the third year of hopefully a multi-generational business.
Oh, yeah.
For us to have sponsors like Progressive Insurance, dude, and it's like corporate Progressive. That's a gargantuan company. We feel very blessed and fortunate to have them on board. They're phenomenal to us, and we're going to be re-upping with them in 23. Black Rifle Coffee, again, cut from the same cloth, speak the same language. I know some of those guys personally, and I'm very fortunate again to have them re-upping for 23 as well. Pro Guy Batteries is back with us.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so Tate and all those guys over there, man, I run them in my boat. I mean, before I bought mine, you know what I mean? Like they're that good, and what's starting to be a saturated market, you know what I mean? In that lithium battery realm, they do it the right way, and so we're glad to have them. But we've got a new tackle retail sponsor this year, and the first 3 minutes on the phone, we both said, yeah, we're going to do something. Let's figure it out. That's how easy this was. Ooh. So Baitworks, if you guys are familiar with Baitworks, Baitworks is coming on board, and they're going to be the official tackle retailer for the NPFL in 2023. Brian and those guys over there, I know Drew Sanford. I've known Drew for a long time. Their mentality and how they approach fishing business, they want to help people. They want to help every single angler who comes into their store and on their online and shops with them. They legitimately want to help them. The reason I'm excited about this is they said, hey, Brad, we want to help you grow the NPFL, right? So obviously they're coming on, they're a paid sponsor. They're paying us a lot of money to promote and market, but we have a partner. Like we have someone that's invested in the process with us to help our anglers be better. They have production qualities, they have production assets, they have all these things that they're going to open up to our anglers. They have the ability to manufacture baits. They're like, look, your anglers want to do their own jig or spin or whatever, like bring them, we'll help them do all those things. Like, dude, it feels so good to have somebody in your corner that is here with you. Not we're not working for them and they're not working for us. We're working together to do a very mutually beneficial deal where it's good for both of us.
That's awesome.
And I'm very, very excited. Dude, when we get on a call and the ideas start flying, like, is anybody writing this down? Like, we got to circle back and actually get some of these executables down. But we inked that final deal, and we're very excited for that, for those guys. So lots and lots of Baitworks stuff going to be flying out.
All right, guys, you heard it. Brad Fuller right here, the NPFL president. Dude, man, I think we hit a whole lot tonight, man. It's been an awesome 2023 season, guys. Make sure like I said, I try to watch as much as I possibly can myself. So make sure you guys tune into all the lives, and make sure you guys tune in here to Bass Radio, because you guys all know we've had a lot of the NPFL anglers on, and they love being on the show. And we love having them on the show because it's helping us all. So, I mean, just like you said, we're all working together as a team to build up the shield that you guys see on his hat, which is the coolest freaking logo.
It is.
And
wait, wait till you get when you guys make it to an event, we'll let you touch it. Like it makes you feel special, man.
If you can drop us one about 5 hours from the house, I am good. So I mean, it's like after that, somebody's got to drive me.
That's what, I'm rooting for that Tennessee event right now. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, listen, thank you guys. Like without guys like you out there letting us have a platform and have a voice, it's a tough market, man. It's competitive, and we're just a little itty bitty fish in a big old pool. But based on you guys making room and time availability to sit down and talk with us, man, it helps us a ton. We are still looking for anglers, so if you know somebody or somebody's out there, you can go on the tnpfl.com, go to angler app, and there's a lot of guys who say they can do it. Let's see if they can do it.
Yeah. Boom. You guys heard it right there. So get signed up, fish with the NPFL. You won't regret it. It's an awesome deal, awesome setup. And like I said, $100,000 now.
Yeah.
To the overall winner. So
and a championship this year.
And back to having a championship. So just excited for definitely excited. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I remember when the website first went up and I got a message at work. I was like,
yeah, when I seen it, I was like, yes. Because
go ahead.
Me and Brian, we've had so many, from Taylor to John. I
have to go back and look.
Interview. Yeah, and then on my YouTube channel, I've had some guys on, and the consistent thing is how much they really love and respect, you guys, and how much they, you guys have done for them, and I think that's what's really turned me and Brian into such big fans. Is because just hearing, even off camera, right? How much they gush about what you guys are doing and the future of the league.
You had one on there a week ago from Tennessee, Geek.
Yeah, and he was a good dude. Adam Spivey. So
yes,
not Spivey. Wait, sorry. Yes,
what was that?
Yeah, Adam Savage.
Adam Spivey is my other friend from Tennessee.
Adam's a good dude, man. Like his mom, like his whole story is just a cool story.
It is.
We love us some Adam Savage, but man, that what you just went through right there, it gives me goosebumps, dude. Like it literally, like we have a saying within the ownership group and all of our guys. So everyone who we have a 9-man crew. That's all we got. And it's a well-oiled machine that we I'm not going to win any HR awards, I promise you, but we get it done. And the anglers respect that, because we don't take days off, we don't loaf, we don't half-ass it, we give a shit. And I'm going to tell you, we have a saying within our group is deeds not words. Don't tell somebody shit. And when you live by that, and when you run your organization by that, if you truly believe it and you live it, everything else is going to be fine, right? Yeah. Like anglers, you can sniff out that stuff when it's not there. And I'm curious, we got some guys who went a different route this year, and I think, and this is something else that's different. I don't need anybody else to fail for me to succeed, right? If you're wishing failure on somebody for you to be better off or you to succeed, then you're going about it all wrong, right?
Yeah.
If I want the biggest building in town, I'm going to build the biggest building. I'm not going to tear all the other buildings around me down, right? And I really think that's kind of a military mindset that I've carried over with me. And look, man, I want everyone to prosper, right? I wish there were things that we did different as an industry, but man, go back 3.5 years, and if you told me I maybe had a chance to influence the bass fishing industry and how it was operated and functions. I'm not saying I do, but I got a shot. Like I'm better off now than I was then. Yeah. And I just think if we live through deeds, not words, and we show people how much we care and what we're dedicated to. And look, man, I want to make money doing this, right? Like, I mean, I have no bones about that. If the amount of work and effort and what we do, I'm not ashamed of that. And we need to get, our tournaments are extremely well ran. Like, and those are other people's words, not mine. Because I always see the flaws, right? I see what we can do better. We need to catch the business up to that. And when we do that, bro, we're not going anywhere. Like we're
Awesome.
here and we're going to figure it out.
Brad, thank you for coming on. Nice show. Appreciate you a lot. Thanks for being on talking with us tonight. Good luck for the rest of the 20. Well, we got like 4 more days in 2022.
I think I'll be okay.
What's that?
I said, I think I'll make it through it. I'll be okay.
Yeah.
And then we, for all of you guys out there, it's tournament. It's Expos time. And, is there a place we'll see the NPFL and Expos, or is there, are you guys going to do some of that marketing type deal where, where you're at it, because it is it's my last question. I actually just thought about this in my brain, but I mean, it is a local 9 to 5 Monday through Friday angler. And most of those guys you're going to see walking the Richmond Fishing Expo, the East Tennessee Fishing Expo, all these small, but Tennessee ain't a small one. She does an awesome job, guys. Expos.
Yeah.
So, I mean, is there going to be a time where, hey, join the NPFL?
Yeah, we did one last year. We did the Columbus Fishing Expo up there with David Hoheisel and those guys.
You did do that.
We are not.
You're there.
I did.
Yeah,
I was there.
Yeah, Geek was there. That's right. I was thinking, Geek was there.
Yeah, we took the trailer up and set it up, and we're not doing that again this year. We're all hands on deck, man, for 23 and getting. We've still got a lot of unanswered questions that we're working for every single day. We made the choice not to do any expos this year. I loved it. Like I could do this all day long. Like
yeah.
Get out and see people, and again, that's how we build our fan base.
Yep.
We are 1,000% dedicated every ounce of our being right now to getting 2023 solidified, done, and going. We are 100% executable. We've got a giant 180 man. Everybody we've sent a contract to that hasn't opted out, we're gonna get them on a Zoom call on Tuesday and talk to them.
Awesome.
And just to make sure that they know where we're coming from, they know where we're going. But to answer your question, Brian, no, we're not doing any expos as a league this year.
All right, sounds good. All right, guys, we've had him long enough. Thank you for being on the show. Thank you for talking to us. We'll get you back on it. Let's get you back on the show mid-year. We'll see how things are rolling, see how things are going, see how some of the things that you've implemented, because like you said, it's still, you want to be consistent. Let's see what we're changing up and what we're making a little different and, making NPFL a lot better. So thank you, brother, for being on, and we appreciate you.
Appreciate you guys. You guys be good.
All right, guys, I really appreciate Brad for coming on tonight's show. As you guys can see, he's extremely passionate about the Major League Fishing Series, National Professional Fishing League event. God, I can't even talk. The NPFL. We were talking about that earlier. Yeah. But yeah, so he, it's something that is ever changing. A rough first year. Second year went off extremely well.
Very well.
Went off very well. And we're coming into the third season of the NPFL. And, it's going to be awesome. I mean, it really is. Yeah. I mean, we love watching it. We love keeping up with it. We love having the anglers on the show and, getting the chance to know their story. So it's a lot happening. And, we're all looking for content. We're all trying to make our events and make what we do even here with a brand new website, trying to make things better for you guys. And, like Geek, I mean, that's how we all get paid. It's called content.
Oh, yeah. Content,
the more we get paid, more money we make, the more we can leave our jobs to do it full time or, take that money, go fish tournaments. It's
chasing our passion.
Right. And that's, just like why a lot of, I've met a lot of you guys over the years. I make spinner baits, okay. Everybody makes spinner bait. Well, I got 12 to 15, 20 people like my spinner baits and they drop X amount of dollars and it pays my entry fees.
Yep.
That's how it all works. I mean,
it is.
So thank you to Brad for coming on. NPFL, guys, make sure you head on over and follow them on Instagram. I know they're pretty heavy on that, the website as well. And like I said, we really appreciate them coming on and talking with us. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Late Merry Christmas because I was sick and didn't get to be here.
That's true. Guys, the Basscast will be back on Smith Mountain Lake on Sunday for January 1. We're going to do a New Year's event. People are messaging me during the show, because it's right around the corner. So we're very excited about that. Something we've never done before. So hopefully we get a big turnout because the weather's supposed to be nice this weekend. Probably a little cool in the morning, but it's supposed to be about 50 degrees when it all ends. So,
oh yeah,
come on
Giving
out, fish
some
with us.
Lower 60s here. So
Heck yeah.
yeah.
So we're gonna have a great weekend. Look forward to seeing everyone again. And then after that, we're gonna be doing the shows and traveling and back on the road. And we're gonna start talking, Bassmasters and a lot of, gonna start bringing a lot of people on and start talking about 2023. So
Oh yeah.
really excited about that. Guys, don't forget, head on over now, follow Geek's channel, share Geek's channel with a friend today. If you got an angler that's new that wants to learn more about bass fishing, and you say, hey, I'm not the best teacher in the world, and I'll be honest, can't everybody be a teacher? I mean, it's that's something, patience, which I've been told I have a little bit of. So I mean, share Geek's channel. That's the thing to do. And tell a friend, put it in your Facebook tonight, say, hey, if you want to learn more about bass fishing, you need to be following the Bass Geek right here. And that's how this whole thing works. So
we give away the juice now. There's no holds barred when we're talking about things.
So there you go. Because that's another. I understand that part too. I do the crazy interviews, and everybody says they lie, but Geek likes to fish. I enjoy fishing as well. Geek's a lot better fisherman than me, but
I'm not going that far.
Yes. But that's his whole passion, is to teach you guys how to become a better angler. Yeah. So head on over and make sure you follow him as well. And thank you guys for being a part of Basscast Radio and being a part of what we do right here. And we will see you guys. And I think we'll probably do a week. We'll be back in a week. One of us will be here. So have a great night, everybody. And we will talk to you guys later.